Week 12 versus Cleveland freaking Browns.
Man.
3-5 team. And we were 5-5. We should have been Bucks fans, we should have known better. We should have known better than to go in the game thinking it was going to be a wash. It was going to be whatever. It was going to be a lesser team versus our potent offense. We should have known better. I wrote about it. I told you about it. But the outcome is the outcome. Buccaneers lost overtime 23-17. I got Bigg Slim from the Swords and Cannon podcast.
Yo.
We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to get it all together. You are now listening to Outside Leverage. This is week 12. Buccaneers, Cleveland. Here we go. Bigg Slim, boy, coming off another one.
Yeah.
Coming off another loss.
Yeah.
Another loss to a team that not even okay. Let's never mind the team because I think a bad thing that we're doing as Buccaneers fans. I'm guilty of this. I'm not sure if you are as well. But getting into a bad habit or sometimes just placing a bad habit of looking at the Buccaneers versus the team and thinking that their record is their record. We know, or should know as for a fact, that records don't make what a team actually is.
Yeah.
It's about what you do on the Sundays that you're playing or the Mondays that you're playing or the Thursdays that the team is playing.
Yeah.
Our Buccaneers went into this game, into week 12 with a 5-5 record, knowing good and damn well, anybody who watched the games, that this Buccaneers team should probably be a 1 or 2 loss team.
Yeah.
When you look at the production or the performances, at least on one half of the ball, and what the defense has done to other teams, have kept these other teams under the NFL average of 22 points in a game. I think there's only 2 teams that the Bucs have not done that with. You look at their performance there, and you look at what's going on. Why would we look at another team and think, okay, this team is 2 wins beneath us, so they must not be good? I think a lot of fans fall into that trap. I've fallen into it just a couple times. I normally catch myself. But this was another one. We faced a team who shouldn't have been able to stay on the field with us, talent-wise. On the defensive side of the ball, they had some monsters over there, man. They had Denzel Ward. They got Myles Garrett. They've got several players on the defensive side of the ball. I'll start with those 2 who are mean and very productive. And I mean, they really like 2 of the best at their positions, right? Yeah. But you look on the offensive side of the ball, they got Nick Chubb, and then you got to start looking through their depth chart to figure out, what other talent comes in there. You got Kareem Hunt. He's been a solid player in the past, but he's been a disgruntled player recently.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot going on, man, but this team stayed on the field with us, and eventually came out victorious because we did what we've seen our offense do once again. And I'm still saying we. I'm not jumping ship. I'm still saying we. That's our team.
Right.
We did what we do on offense. We showed up barely. Showed up and disappeared, man. When you're looking at this game as a whole, when you're looking at this game and you're looking at the team, where do you see? What do you see on the offensive side of the ball? What do you see that makes things work? Or do you see things that ain't working? Like, where do you see it? Like, where is it coming in from? Like, why is there no leadership on this team? on the offensive side of the ball. We got two guys who have not just we have guys who are not just NFL head coach, not head coaches, but coaching. But we got quarterbacks, two of them. Byron Leftwich, who's the OC and the longest tenured player, one of the longest tenured players in NFL history, and definitely the longest tenured player in the last 20-some years, and Tom Brady. Neither one of these cats can figure out how to make this offense work. And it showed up again here in this game.
Yeah.
Where's it coming from? What do we look at? How do we placing blame on players? We hate placing blame on anybody other than the coaches a lot of times. But in this case, when you got somebody with the experience of a Tom Brady, who's supposed to be a field manager, he's the guy. He's the face of the offense, face of the franchise, and you got a former quarterback who should be in the same mindset when it comes to like field position, game management. Why? Why do we have two people who can't seem to get it right all of a sudden this year? But not all of a sudden. Well, I'll touch on that in a second. But this year, worse than ever. How do we get to this point in this game?
Man, for me, man, it's enough to go around. But I stick to my guns and say, I would just say execution, man. Like, I mean, a lot of people can put on the play calling, the coaching, and true enough, all of those effective. But for me, in my eye test, watching the games, actually watching the games, game in and game out, it's so many plays that we leave on the field, man. It's so many plays that if they work, we'll probably be different, have a different look on as far as the play calling narrative, because we're like, oh, well, that was a good play. That was a good play. That was a good play. Like, I feel like each game is plays that's left on the field, scoring plays almost, or plays that can convert those third downs and keep the drive going. We just fall short on. Whether it's blocking, whether it's just catching the ball, Brady not making the throws, players dropping the ball. It just looked like chaos out there. It looked like it's just a bunch of chickens running around with no head sometimes. And when you do, I think with that, you put the play calling, you put the coaching even in a worse position, because the margin of error is so slim. You know what I mean? Like, he has to call the right play every time because of the lack of execution. So I think a lot of times, man, like, just not saying that everything is perfect, not saying that Byron doesn't have his faults. I just think collectively as an offense, we just don't execute at a high level, man. And it's been the same echoing out the building, out the locker room, and the press conference from players and coaches. So I take that with some value, because they trying to tell you, like, hey, we have to execute better. And I think with execution, we score more points. I think I think it's all a tree. With blocking, we are able to execute better with it. If we execute better, we'll score more points. And I think a lot of it just really just adds fuel to the fire, to the play calling, because when the play calling isn't up to snuff, or you kind of sniff out what plays is coming, and you don't execute, it just make it all look even worse, man. So for me, as far as if you're going back to the original question on leadership and all that, man, of course it comes down to Brady. Of course it's a split between Brady and Byron, because Bowles have said plenty of times he don't have anything to do with the offense. He worried about the defense, which runs the offense. I think Bowles makes certain executive decisions based on whether we go for it, or what he wants out the offense to do certain things. But as a whole, this is the Leftwich Brady show. So whatever disconnect is going on between those two, that's kind of rolling over to what we're doing on Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays, it just isn't working. It's really, since the 3 years have been going on, this is the worst year. So yeah. It's a lot of things, man. And like I say, a lot of it just kind of goes into execution, man. And having two of our starters out the offensive line for last year going wrong doesn't help. With Marpet leaving, and then we had Aaron Steady that supposed to win in. He got hurt in training camp, so we down to essentially a third string, a rookie that started, and he ain't cutting it. Now we're down to basically another third string, a backup center, Nick Levy cutting it at left guard, doing better. But still, Nick Levy isn't Adam Marpet, And you got Robert Hainsey, who's a guy that wasn't even cut out to play center. He was a right tackle in college, and he's trying to figure out his center, trying to command his whole thing. So I think that has a lot to it. It's a combination of things, dog. It's not one thing we can put our finger on, but for me and my eye test and my perspective, I say it starts with that. I think you can cover up a lot of the deficiency in the play calling if you just execute. But if you ain't executing, it just, I don't give a damn if it's the right play or not. If you don't execute the play, it just ain't gonna work. So that's my position.
Yeah, specific to this game, it's specific to the Week 12 outing, where we saw scenarios where the BUCS offense, again, habitually, they go into a lull. Our offense goes into a lull every freaking game. I mean, obviously, as fans of football, we know, and fans who watch a lot of football, we know good and damn well we're not going to score every single drive.
Right.
But in every single game, there shouldn't be a point where you just know the offense isn't going to move the ball. And it shouldn't show up. And it does statistically where the offense just doesn't move the ball and they can't move the ball. I think in this game, we had 7 3-and-outs. 7 3-and-outs. We had, I believe it was 4 drives that didn't last a minute.
Yeah. That last drive, it lasted 14 seconds.
Yeah, it's
14 seconds.
Yeah, like that kind of thing, man. That's kind of a crazy stat that we can't really you almost can't wrap your head around this kind of thing, man. It's crazy to see our offense be that inept. You know what I mean? Like for our offense to be that inept and do it habitually.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about terms like that, it translates into time possession. And I'm looking at it, and we're the 4th worst in the league in time possession. The 3 worst teams in time possession is Seattle, Houston, and Carolina. New Orleans, Atlanta, and the Jets are above us to 3. But within that, the 3 teams above and 3 teams worse than us, all those teams are bad. Except for Seattle, basically record-wise. But New Orleans not doing anything, Atlanta not doing anything, Houston definitely not doing anything, Carolina's not doing anything. So collectively at the NFC South, if we are the worst division, we're proving it because we don't have any offense between all 4 teams. New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, then Carolina last. So when you talk about offense, man, that's a direct correlation to what we do on offense. We can't stay on the field, and with that means less time to score points, less time to move the ball. So it just, once again, that comes down to execution. It comes down to actually trying to execute the plays that's called, whether they're bad or not. Like I say, it's hard to tell what plays aren't good because we don't do the good plays good. So
because we are executing, right.
We ain't executed. So when you talk about, man, just the lull, those are those lulls where it's just 3-and-outs over and over and over and over and over. You're talking about drives lasting 14 seconds. Come on.
Yeah, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's take a look and pay attention to these to the Week 12 drives with the BUCS, and let's take a look at how their team, how the offense actually broke down and how they played. Right, so the offense comes out and we get a touchdown, and then we go punt, field goal, punt, touchdown, punt, OT, punt. That's not good at all.
Nah.
Like how does a team expect to win? How does a fan base expect a team to win when that is the output? And it's like this every other game where you have that kind of an output like that. That is terrible. That's terrible. That's just. And when you look at this stuff like this, man, when you look at those drives and you look at the game, how it unfolded, the reason why I wanted to start off with the question of where's the leadership on offense, I go back to a week or 2 ago when we played the Rams and we won the game in regulation, last-minute drive.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey of the Los Angeles Rams, he didn't hold back when he talked about hey, like there need to be some dogs on offense that could come in and put an end to these games and close out the games on offense when the defense has been out there and doing what they do as well as they've done. Why? I know it's blasphemous for a lot of fans and a lot of people paying attention to and watching things. Why don't we have a guy on offense who can say, hey, enough is enough. We got to make something happen. We got to slow things down or pick things up. Like, why is that not our franchise quarterback or our face of the franchise in Tom Brady? Why is that not the case with him? I know he's not a rah-rah guy, but why can we not rely on him to get the offense straight other than talking to or yelling at the offensive line every now and again? Like, why is he not being held to a standard of, hey, let's use your 20-plus years of experience, hey, take control of the game. Hey, make things happen, or call it as you see it. Why has that not been the case?
I don't know, man. It's weird. And you when you watch the game, you see Brady chewing players out, and he has these emotions after a play doesn't work. Even when he made a bad throw, he'll clap his helmet, or if a player doesn't run the route correctly, or if something goes wrong, you see the emotion out of Brady. You see Brady on the sideline, he might grill the offensive line if they're not playing up the snow. So I think the emotion is there. I just think as a collective offense, you talking about having a dog. I just think these players play nervous, man. I think they're so idolized by Brady that they don't want to let them down, that they play nervous. And it's one of those things. It's weird, you might want to say, okay, Mike Evans need to be one of those guys, a 10-year guy been with the team the whole time. Yeah. He should have a standard of just, hey, no, we're not playing up to snuff. Like, we got to stop this. Like, what's going on? Like, you don't see that on the offensive side. You might see on the defense side, the linebackers might get up and they might pep talk themselves, to kind of get back in the game for half the game in certain games. Not saying the BUCS, but in general. But as far as us, it ain't nobody. Like, I think if it ain't Brady, you see, I can't sit back and say you don't see Brady getting frustrated. You don't see Brady talking to him in the huddle like, hey, we finna do this. Let's do this. We're gonna run this play. Like, you do this, whatever. I can't say I don't see that. It just, damn, like, you can yell at these guys all day long, but they still got to pass. I think they still got to catch the ball. They still got to block. They still got to execute. So right. I think, after a while, all the yelling ain't gonna mean anything if you're still not doing what you're supposed to do. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's a weird situation. I don't know. Like, maybe Bruce Arians was one of those guys. They used to come, get in the player ear or be like, hey, let's do this. That voice is missing. Maybe Bruce Arians was one of them guys that used to tell the offense like, hey, now we got to do this. We got to go ahead and score these points. Byron Leftwich is conservative. He's passive. He's not raising his voice yelling at nobody. He's buddy with everybody. Like, he's acting like the supervisor, your friend that made supervisor. Like, he don't want to cause no waves.
Just happy to be there.
Yeah. So when you look at it, you have Brady that's probably that person, and Brady doing what he can, but at the end, like, it's still not translating into executing. It's still not translating into the offense playing better.
Yeah. Now, specific to this game, when we're gonna talk about this next here coming up. As we talk about the blame and so forth about specific plays and specific scenarios. In this game, we had a point where the BUCS had a 17-10 lead with 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game.
Correct.
The BUCS went the next 4 drives not doing the damn thing. I think it was a net gain of 30-some yards, 38 yards, and there were three and outs in those drives. Like, when I mentioned who's going to take the leadership in the offense, when you got a Leftwich and you got a Brady on the sideline, I'm going to skip all the way to the end of the game, where this is the biggest talking point in Tampa and a lot of sports media right now, talking about the timeout situations, especially after we just saw we saw several instances this week about crazy timeout situations and clock management. When right. you see when you see a player, when you have a team and you got a guy like Tom Brady who's got all this experience, who's seen all these things, when that your offense haven't moved the ball, and your best option or your best move to actually get the ball going, which has been in the past the same thing. We talk about taking Byron Leftwich out of the situation. Don't let him call plays, go in a no huddle, go into a hurry up, do that. Get the defense on the move. Why would a Tom Brady not insist on making that kind of a play happen coming into like the last position of the game, when we basically didn't have a whole lot of time going? But he didn't. It seemed like he conceded as well to go with what people are calling conservative, the conservative direction that Todd Bowles or whoever was made the call. Like, why wouldn't our guy be that kind of a stand-up guy, like, hey, we can do it, we can get to the other side of the ball, let's make something happen, let's go no huddle, let's keep them on their toes? why isn't that happening? Like, why? I keep asking, why isn't this kind of things happening? Because we've seen it from other players. I've seen it from other quarterbacks. Right. I know they have other weapons and they have other things they can do, like running the ball, scrambling, and extending plays and so forth. But this is what everybody keeps saying. This is the GOAT. This is Tom Brady. By the way, I'm not calling him a GOAT like that. But this is Tom Brady. Why can't we lean on Tom Brady to do that kind of a thing?
I think Tom Brady does sometimes. If you think about the last drive, and Bowles said that his own mouth, he was like, "Hey, the plan was if we don't get enough yards on the first play, we're just gonna just let it run out." So they never had a plan to come out and just really give a try, like really try to move the ball to get in the field goal range. Everything was based off the first play. The first play was a screen to Rachaad White. He would have got like 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah,
I think at that moment, that's why the timeout wasn't called, because they had already said it. Like, hey, if we don't get any yards, we're just gonna just take this thing to overtime. I think in that specific moment, Tom Brady said, "Fuck that, we're gonna run this play." Because you see, he went no huddle. I don't even think he looked at the sideline anymore. He did the no huddle. He called the play. He did 20, 25 yards to Julio.
26 yards to Julio. Yeah.
26 yards up the seam and cover 2 to Julio. Now, those are situations where I feel like Tom Brady is just like, fuck that, I'm finna take over. We finna try. We not finna just lay down. So in those situations, I see he do it. But I think overall, Tom is just really saying, okay, I'm gonna trust the coach. I'm gonna follow what the coach is doing. I think Tom is one of those guys that he will, but then I don't think he want to step on Byron's toes to the point where it drives a wedge or a rift with the offense. Because now, if you undermine Byron Leftwich all the time, how does it affect the huddle? How does it affect the rest of the offense? Yeah. And then you do have a coach like Todd Bowles that will say, "Nah, we ain't going for it." Like in a 4th and 2 situation where even myself was saying, "Hey, we should have just went. We should have tried." I mean, yeah, we could have probably kicked 55-yard field goal with the wind and the weather and all that, but that was better than kicking a punt that netted on the 17 yards. Like, I would rather for us to try. Because here's the thing. Todd Bowles said that, hey, I would trust my defense in this situation. That's why I decided to punt. But you had to take a delay of game to get more yards to make the punt more effective. So my thing is, if you trust your defense that much, you should better trust your defense no matter if the ball landed inside the 5 or it was at the 37 off a failed attempt to get the first down off the 4th. So in that 4th and 2nd, you could tell they get the call. Byron said, go out there and do it. But the call was to try to draw them off sides. That didn't work. They took the delay of game. Brady snapped his chin straight out and started cussing. So you could tell Brady was frustrated with the conservative, play calling, conservative decision making that was going on. So that's 2 situations off the game that I realized that, what's going on isn't really in tune with what Brady want to do. I think that what Brady was like, hey, we're not seeing the same things, stuff like that. And I think he was kind of saying that as a whole, as far as the coach staff and play calling, like, hey, on the field, Brady would like to take more chances, but per, Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles, they're kind of like, no, we're just going to lean on the defense. And to your point, it's only so much you can lean on the defense until they bend. You don't want a situation like Jalen Ramsey come out on our side and say, hey, I just wish the offense was just goddamn it say, no, we're going for it. Because if you can if you can trust your defense that much, roll your dice with the offense. It's 4th and 2 at the 37. Go for it. Like, try to go for it. Don't punt the ball saying we want to pin them back. It don't matter. Like, if you trust your defense, you can trust them at the 37, you can trust them at the 5, you can trust them at the 20. So in hindsight, yeah, it was a horrible decision. But for me, watching the game in real time, and I think Tom Brady and maybe others agreed, like, hey, this is our chance to really put the game in our favor. Let's go up 2 scores. Let's go for it. Let's try it. Like, let's do something. If we ain't moving the ball as well, and we had this situation, we had this opportunity to really get closer and really get an opportunity to score, you got to take that chance. You can't just say, oh, it's 4th and 2, we're just going to go back on the defense, because essentially you're not trusting your offense, and that's how you lost the game, because the offense didn't do anything. But you didn't also allow them to even fucking try when you had an opportunity for them to try. I think that play right there kind of just was the turning point in the whole offense as far as the momentum, because common sense would tell you, coach don't trust the offense. He didn't trust the offense. So I think, man, like, in those 2 situations, not going on, but those 2 situations, I could say that Tom Brady was like, hey, I want to do this. I want to go for it. I want to be a little more aggressive. But, that's when I can't defend the play calling at that point. I can't defend the coaching decision at that point. I mean, Todd Bowles said in the interview on the presser Monday, like, what was his mindset? And it was tail between your legs, loser mentality coaching. Like, you're not going to win games like that. Like, just the excuse of saying, hey, well, the offense wasn't doing much. That was on the 37. That was good enough. You're right there now. Go for it. Try to take the game. You got to try to win. You know, you're playing not to lose, but you're not trying to play to win. So that was my issue.
Okay, so now I actually don't agree on that one. I actually don't agree with the and again, I know it's a popular notion, and I know a lot of cats feel that way. Now, I don't think in that instance. Now, I didn't like the punt, but I didn't think in that instance it was a case of playing not to lose. I mean, at the end of the game, now we can say that because in hindsight and retrospect, it felt like you were playing to lose at that stage. But at that point, I'm like, nah, because the offense really wasn't moving the ball. They could have. I thought they were going to go for it. To be honest with you, I'm like, hey, this is crazy. Why are we punting? We got a good kicker. Kick it. Try it. And to your point, like, yeah, your defense is a strong defense. Like, if they got to defend 63 yards, they probably defend it. They do it. Yep. You know what I mean? But I also don't feel like he was coaching not to lose. Like I can't get with that one. Like, I don't think that he was coaching not to lose.
Why you think
he was. What's that?
I said, why you say that?
Because I just don't see it. I think he was trying to make the smart move in that instance. Again, this is early in the game. Like, this is early in the game. Like, the offense had a whole lot of other opportunities to prove that they can move the ball and get things going. I didn't feel like any momentum actually shifted on that. I just thought, like, hey, okay, I thought it was a bad decision to punt it. I thought it was a bad decision to punt it because, like, well, goddamn, why don't you trust the kicker? That was the only thing that I was questioning. Like, the offense, I'm like, yeah, the offense having a hard time moving the ball. 4th and 2, we may not get it. Then the momentum even shifts more to Cleveland, and Cleveland's whole strength is having a good defense. Like, you turn around and give them momentum, even more momentum. That to my I thought that would have been a bigger turning point if we had turned the ball over and gave the ball back to Cleveland right there. That's when I felt like I thought that would have been a bad deal. But I didn't feel like it was a momentum point. I didn't feel like it was a momentum change at that point.
I feel like it was. I think not to say a momentum change, but I think it sucked the morale out of the offense because at that point, I think everybody on the offense really wanted to go for it, including Brady. And when you kind of just yank their collar and tell them get back off the field off 2 yards, when if you understand the game, like, hey, if we can just get 3 points out of this deal, for the simple fact it's been challenging to score and move the ball all game. If you can just get 3 points, get 3 points out of this deal when you at the 37, I think. Say for instance, if we're playing in the dome, no weather, no type of weather influence, do you think they kick the field goal at that point, or do they punt?
Man, at this stage, I think they're kicking it.
Right. So even then, even if you say, well, we can't kick it because of the weather, like, it's still a situation where you say, hey man, like, we got to get something out this drive. We're on the 37. I just feel like punting was just like you say, he was trying to make the smart call, and I'm not trying to drag him for that because, like I say, at the end of the day, he's the coach. At the end of the day, I think he was trying to be too smart. You was just being conservative, man. Like, understanding the game situation, understanding it's a close game, understanding that there's only so many positions left we're going to have. It's the opportunity to get us up 10 points, get us up 2 positions. I think that was a time where you roll the dice. For the simple fact, if you do trust your defense and you don't get it, you trust your defense to still be out of there to stop them stop them at the 30 from the 37. So if my thing is, if you have this mindset and this confidence about the defense, you should be able to take certain chances like that, especially at the 37 when you know that field position is probably going to be hard to come by for the rest of the game. You haven't been in the 30, you haven't been down there a lot of the game. So I think at that 4th and 2, at that point I've been more inclined to call a timeout. Let's talk about it. Brady, what you want to do? Byron, what you want to do? All right, this is what we're going to do. Instead of going out there try to draw them outside, come on, like, really, we're that desperate. We can't get 2 yards, but we're trying to make them give us 5. Like, and it's not a it's a kind of a disingenuous move, like, because you can tell they loved about it. They didn't really know what they do. So, like, let's go out there and try to draw them outside. I think that was just a wasted opportunity to really just play to win. Like try to get it, play to win, keep the game in your control, take over the game. Like I think that's where the ball kind of dropped.
All right, cool. Before we pause for a second, I just want to follow up and ask these questions. We're talking about momentum and we're talking about, in the heart of the team and, showing heart and this and that. And again, at this point, there's so many of these questions that I'm coming up with and that a lot of other folks are coming up with, especially in the media. At this point, it's like it's all hypothetical. Hypothetically, Bucks go for it. Offense goes for it. Been struggling all game. They only scored a touchdown once, first possession, and couldn't move the ball. We've seen what the Bucks basically hold their head down for long periods of time after, a failed attempt, after a failed this or that. Same thing in this case. 4th and 2, we run it, we get hit behind the line, something dumb happens. Do we think you don't think that could linger into future possessions, kind of like what Byron Leftwich and Coach Bowles and Tom Brady have seen? Because we've seen this over and over and over. That's what happens. We get to a spot, we can make a play, don't make the play, and it seems to just linger on to the next several drives. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I have to take that into consideration when I'm thinking about Bowles' decisions and so forth and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that I have to pay attention to and wonder. Because you've seen these results over and over again. Like none of this is new. So that's the kind of stuff that I come up with. And again, I'm not defending the call, whatever. I'm with you in the sense that, hey, we try to get some points. Situationally, I don't know if the field wasn't good for a 50-some yard field goal. I'm not sure what the case was, but I'm like, yeah, I just didn't see it as the team, as Coach Bowles basically, tucking his tail like, hey, let's play conservative. I'm not sure what the deal was there.
Yeah, I think it was a mixture because he even admitted that, hey, the offense was having trouble moving the ball. So I mean, if you have this in your head and it's hard to move the ball, that's why I'm saying that if you somehow get yourself to the opponent's 37, you got to cash that in. You got to try. Like you got to try because on that drive, I think the big part why we got down the field was that defensive pass interference on Mike Evans.
On Evans, right?
So yeah, so they kind of flipped us to their side of the field. So we kind of moved up, kind of lugged out and kind of stalled out at the end. But at that point, like I mean, for me, man, like I say, we can critique this all day long. I just think for me at that point, especially if you got your quarterback and you got your offense out there, man, you got Tom Brady. At some point you got to say, okay, what do Tom want to do? Leftwich, what you want to do? Okay, you got to trust your guys. Like you can't yank their collar like that. And because like I say, at the end of the day, and this is I'm only quoting what Todd Bowles said in the presser Monday. He said he trusted his defense to that point. So if you trust your defense, man, if you trust your defense that much, you should be able to take chances with your offense because you trust your defense. Now I understand if you didn't trust your defense and you was like, well, if we don't get this, damn, they're gonna put us in a situation where they're gonna make it very easy for Cleveland to score. I get that. But he wasn't insinuating that. He insinuating like, well, no matter where they get the ball at, I trust my defense to do their job. And which they did. They got the ball back and they turned it. I think they turned it over on downs that next possession. Right. Yeah. So my thing is, I would rather for that to happen and us actually try to go for it and try to sustain the drive and get some type of points out of it versus just tucking our tail, punting the ball away because of the defense is doing so good. Like it's not a balance. And saying that the offense isn't moving the ball enough is kind of like a cop out. Like I say, it shows that you don't trust your offense. But in that point time of the game, it's the fourth quarter. At some point, somebody has to score the points. Like if you're just thinking you're gonna win this game 17-10 based on your defense, you're a fool. Law averages say you give that team enough chances with the ball, they're gonna score, and that's what happened. They scored at the end of the game. And I'm not even mad at the defense because the offense couldn't give them no house money to play with. So, man, that's how I feel. I mean, that as a coach, man, you can't coach scared. And I'm a firm believer that you can't coach scared. I don't care what's going on throughout the game. If you got basically this game on the line and 2 yards to gain, like I'm pretty sure you got something in that playbook. They say we need 2 yards, we're gonna run a 5 yard play. Let's run a 5 yard slant concept, something. Run the ball. Give it to Rashad White and let him try. But for us to punt and then it don't work out, it nets 17 yards, and then the Browns get the ball and don't do nothing back. We never got a chance to get that close to the touchdown. No more that game.
We'll pause.
That's how it crumbled.
All right. We'll pause right there for a second, man. We'll come back to that, and we'll come back and we'll take a listen to a couple of the questions that Todd Bowles did after the loss on Monday. We'll come back and we'll take a listen to some of those, and again we have to dive into this whole to timeout or not to timeout situation there. But yeah, we'll pause it for just a second, and we'll come right back to that. Just like that, we back. Hey. So dig this. So we were just talking about Todd Bowles and the whole playing conservative questions and so forth, everything that he came that he got hit with. Basically, he got not ramsacked. Nobody sandbagged him on the press conference. That was a couple of stupid ass questions, but for the people they pressed him a lot. So real quick, we'll take a listen to a couple of these questions, man, and I want to get your take on a couple of these answers he gave. You already kind of touched on a few of them, but we'll take a listen to just a couple of these real quick.
37 on 4th and 2 instead of going for it. The analytics community says go for it at that point in time. What was your reasoning for punting and not trying to get some points, because field goal in that drive makes it a 2-score game and you probably win the game at that point?
Again, the defense was playing well. The offense wasn't playing it, moving the ball as well. So we tried to play the strength of our defense and get the ball back if we can back them up.
Do you trust your offense?
I do.
But you didn't trust them in that instance?
Well, I saw how the game was going. I trusted our defense to get the ball back, and I thought we can get the ball in good field position and still go down and get a score.
All right, so that was Todd Bowles on Monday, answering a couple questions about the scenario that we were just speaking on here, the punt and trusting the defense. Hey, he said you got to play to your strength, and I mean, and every time I look at him, I'm like, well, damn, he was kind of right. He was kind of right. You got to play the strength. He kept putting the defense. He put the defense out there to keep shutting down the Browns, except for the last touchdown in the fourth quarter. But when your offense isn't moving the ball, and your offense isn't moving the ball, your defense is playing well, and the defense was playing well with a bunch of injuries, once I started seeing Winfield come on and off the field, I'm like, man, offense got to score soon to make me feel better about winning this game or pulling this game out, because our main guys are going down. Him and Edwards, Carlton Davis with the slip. Even before he slipped, it seemed like he was limping a little bit. So I'm like, okay, we gotta do something. But again, you want to trust your defense, and you say, your point was, hey, like if you trust them at one part of the field, you got to be able to trust them in other scenarios as well. Like, is there not a statute of limitations on that though?
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's to what you said. If you trust them on one part of the field, you should be able to trust them on the other part. Like, I just don't understand what was the train of thought, because the thing is, this is what he said. Now he said, "Hey, we playing to the strength of the defense. I trusted our defense to get the ball back and get us in good field position to go back and score." Well, the thing was, you was already in good field position to score. So, say for instance, if you punt the ball and the punt goes how you want it, you kind of pin them, and you stop them and they punt the ball, we still got to drive the ball.
Yeah.
We still got to get back in field position, at least field goal position. We was already there. So that's my point. Like, you talking as if we punt the ball, the offense can still get us back to that point, but he's forgetting the fact that we was already there in position to score. So my mind is, that's why you take the chance, because again, for the rest of the game, we never got back in their territory. So if you're saying the offense to move the ball, well, that specific drive, we moved the ball. No matter it was the defensive, the pass interference or whatever the case is, that specific drive, we was able to get into Browns territory. Saying that, hey, well, I'm gonna tell the defense to stop them and we'll get the ball back and go back and score, is hypocritical. hypocritical because you was already in position to score. So if you're saying you trust your defense to get the ball back and put your offense in position to score again, why not go for it then? And if you don't get it, say your defense get the ball back so the offense can go back down and score, or at least try to score again. So it to me, man, like I say, I think he overthought it. I think he's skewed defensively minded, and I don't think Leftwich has a big enough voice or a big enough influence to tell him, no, we got to go for it here. I don't think there's nobody in his ear telling him or kind of checking balancing him on certain decision making, because Brady is the player. The only person that can really speak for the offense as a coach is Leftwich. But Leftwich look up to Brady. So, when you have Bowles, he's going to be the executive decision maker. I just think it was a bad decision. And when he said in the press of what the thought process behind the season is really you make your point, but then you don't make your point. You kind of cancel yourself out because you're expecting the same thing to happen in the position you are already in. So how do you justify not going for 4th and 2, but then expect the defense to get the ball back and say have your offense to get back in their position? So it just didn't make a lot of sense to me, man. Like it didn't. Like and like again, those are situations where you zap the morale out of an offense that is struggling, that maybe need to get their 4th and 2 to build their confidence up, maybe need to go for their 4th and 2 and sustain their drive and say, damn, yeah, we got it. We finally got some points. We finally drove the ball and got some points. When you do that, man, you just keep resetting it. Like, I just think he let his offense down, for better or for worse. Like, if they don't get it, okay, bring out your vaunted defense to make the stop. But don't cheat your offense of an opportunity to score when they're that close. Based on what you're saying is we having a hard time moving the ball. Well, that's your opportunity to get something out of that drive. So
I ain't gonna lie to you, that what you just said and how you said it was like the first time I actually had even thought about it that way, and it just cracked me the hell up. I'm like, well, damn, you're already at the spot where they can get on the field
something out of it.
Like,
like have punt the ball and then still try to want the same situation. You already there. I get his 4th and 2, but in that situation he plays scared. Like, I get the defense is such this sword for you can use, but at the end of the day, man, you got an offense for a reason. The defense can't score the point. Now I understand the defense getting takeaways, maybe a strip sack here or pick here. The defense ain't taking the ball away, so they're just doing good at stopping other teams. But we're not getting bonus points from the defense. So you need to score points. Like you gotta down to die, or you gotta lose trying to score points. And I don't think we play like that. Like I'd rather lost the game knowing we went for it trying to score points than took our tail punt and then we never get back in their field, never get back on this side of the field, and it just it's what you say where the offense ain't moving the ball. We had them right there. You got to go for it. So that's why I think a lot of the fans are irritated because we'll rather lose if we trying, but we just losing like we just expecting the other team to not do good. Like we got to play, we got to show up and play. You can't tell me you don't have a play in that playbook that you can't get. If we need 2 yards, run a 5-yard play. You ain't got to throw it down the field. Run something. Give it to Julio. Do something. You got Julio and Mike Evans, K. Iden. Like, do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I think a lot of fans just did. We want that, man. Like, it's criminal that we average 17, 18 points a game with offense.
It's really goddamn ridiculous is what it is.
So, in those situations, man, like, if we're going to lose, I'd rather lose trying, not just trying to wait to the end of the game. Just hopefully we can hold them to less points than us for 60 minutes. You got to go for it, man.
Now, here's my only put. Here's again, like you opened my eyes on something on what you said before. Now, here's my only other pushback on that. The fact that we punted the ball and put them in a dangerous position, which was supposed to. So terrible. Yeah. It was trying to get them in a terrible position. The only thing I can even think of that basically makes that make more sense to me from Bowles' standpoint is the fact that we were dealing with so many injuries in the secondary. Like I was talking about going in and out with our best, not our best corner, but our safeties, our 2 best safeties. Actually, all 3, because Keanu Neal was. Am I crazy? Did Keanu Neal get hurt? I
don't think Neal got hurt, but Winfield got hurt. I think Mike Edwards got nicked up. I know both cornerbacks got hurt. Dean got hurt for a couple plays. Carden, I think he bust his nose up. But at one point, who was out there was Zion McCullough.
yeah, you know what? When fast forwarding in the game, when Cooper caught that pass way down, I'm sorry, when Whatchamacallit slipped and Cooper got free, that's when both of those, that's when McCullum and I forget the other cat name, they ran into each other. Looked like the Three Stooges, minus one. So
and D. Delaney, he was in for somebody. So D. Delaney playing safety, so who he was replacing. So
I mean, that's one of the only things I was thinking at the time. Not thinking at the time, but I thought about it like later. I'm like, well, damn, we didn't have. Maybe you had to, not try to give Cleveland yards, whatever, or push them back as far as we can because we were dealing with those issues. You know what I mean? Right. So I had to entertain that as well. But now, again, like I said earlier, man, you made a point of it, and I didn't think about it until you said it. I at least didn't think about it in the way that you thought about it. Like, well, hell, we already basically what the hell we need to be to score points. And we try. Like
it didn't make sense because in one breath you say the offense ain't moving the ball, but you want to punt the ball for the defense to stop them to get the same offense you're saying not moving the ball to move the ball to get back in scoring position. Like it just didn't make any sense. And when he said that would piss everybody off because the decision itself pissed everybody off. But then when you explain it the next day, that's when I was like, damn, Bowles, like you ain't making this. You ain't. It's hard to defend it. It's hard to defend the coaching and the coaching decisions, and it's hard to defend it when that's your reason. Like because at that point we lose the game because of we're not playing to win. You're not playing to win the game. I guarantee you, if it was the Browns, if they was up 17-10, the Browns would have went for it because they want to make sure they want to put the game out of reach.
I think, I think a few more than a few teams do it, especially when they're playing against the BUCS because they're underdogs and they, those cats got that underdog mentality and shit like that.
You just play to win.
Well,
you just play to win. You play to score. On offense, you play to score points. You don't just play offense to hold the ball and play keep away. You play to score points. If you're in a position to score points or you're close enough, because it would have been a 55-yard field goal. His max was 54. So let's say we gained 5 to 6 yards on their conversion. We got 3 in our pocket. So you got to, man, like I think those are the plays or those are the coaching decisions that it's like tears our Achilles heel for the offense because again, subliminally you just told him you didn't trust him. And you don't tell me Tom Brady wasn't pissed. He was pissed. After he had to go out there and try to draw him off line and it didn't work, he was pissed. He was cussing on the way to the sideline. He's mad at the decision to not go for it. So if we talking about leadership, back to your first question, that's leadership saying we need to go for it. He's not going to overrule Bowles. He's not going to overrule Leftwich because Brady's going to be the player. So in that time, those are situations like, to your credit, that's when you just want Brady to say, make the call the play, go for it, Brady. We're gonna live it down. This is why we got you here for situations like this. So you got to live and die with it, man. Like you can't tell me a little draw play or a drag to Julio or somebody that can catch and run couldn't get 2 yards. I would have just been okay with just running the ball with Rashad White. Let's just fucking try it. Let's line up and try it. You got to go for it. So in this sense, man, I can go on and on, but that for me, man, I think those are the points in the game where you rob your team. You just rob your team.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point. Again, that's the same way a lot of cats felt. A lot of cats felt the same way that, that was a big game changer. That was a big momentum shift. And, until you think about, basically castrating the offense to a point. I mean, I want to say I get that. I get it. I don't think I 100% agree. Yeah. I hated that. I mean, I don't know how. I don't even know how, again, going back and listening to it and, taking your perspective into consideration, about, not going for at least going for the field goal, going for the punt. I'm not sure what the field conditions were, why we couldn't, go for a field goal or what have you.
Like I said, if we went for the field goal and it missed, I would not have felt as bad as just really punting. Like if we kicked the field goal, because 50-50 chance. Who to say he couldn't make the field goal? So say if we kicked it against the odds and he make it, we up 10 points. We virtually will seal the game. if we kicked it and he didn't miss, well, damn, the weather, the field, okay, but we at least fucking tried,
Yeah.
And that's, I think, for fans, even for me, man, it's just like, come on. And then when you give us that, when you come tell us the reason why or why you didn't, everybody just really just calling BS, and it's really just okay. If that's how you coach, then man, you castrating your team, you castrating your offense. Like if there was trust me, if there was Bruce Arians on the sideline, Bruce Arians would have went for it. Bruce risking no biscuit would have been the fit. Bruce Arians would have said line up and go for it. So you talk about a head coach, and you talk about the identity a team takes on after a head coach, and it's obvious. Byron, I mean not Byron, but Bowles is very conservative, very soft spoken, very dry. Just hey, whatever, emotionless. But in those situations, man, I think as a head coach, if you have Tom Brady at your disposal, just off principle, certain offensive decisions need to be up to Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich. More importantly, Tom Brady.
Now, see, that is a question, and that's a scenario that I've talked about for a minute. We're talking about the hierarchy of what's going on the BUCS sideline.
Yeah.
Now, because you and I joked about this one time before about Tom Brady having the ability to push goddamn Bruce Arians' ass all the way up to not even on the sideline, push that one to a front office. So. Yeah. Would a cat who is allegedly, supposedly, maybe, possibly have that kind of power to this? Why? Why the hell would he not be one of those guys to be like, hey, like we got to go for it. Hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. We got to. Like, why would he not be able to do that?
I guarantee you, if they like to my point earlier, if you at that crossroad, 42. And like it was a lull between getting the play in, what they want to do, was they gonna bring the field goal, It was a little lull, like nobody didn't know what to do. And then
which was stupid as hell, by the way.
When the camera pans to Byron Leftwich, he was like talking to him, and he was kind of waving him back on the field. I think a timeout should have been called. Let's bring it in. Let's talk about it. Let's get on one page about what we're gonna do. If we're gonna go for it, let's dial up the play, because that situation right there can really can give you the control of the game if you're able to sustain that drive. And at the bare minimum, get 3 out. You give your defense house money to play with. So if they do end up bending at the end of the game and giving Njoku that touchdown, you still got 3 in your pocket. I think a timeout should have been called. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. What we want to do. We're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. Tom, what do you want to do? I guarantee you, Tom would have been 1,000% saying, let's go for it. Let's do this certain play. And I think that's what the confusion was. And I think it was just like, well, just try to draw them outside because they didn't have a play draw. They didn't have a play call. So I don't think it wasn't a situation where they didn't want to go for it. I just think they just didn't know what to do. And it was, like you say, between that whole little last play and the play leading up to it, I don't know where if Todd Bowles took too long to make the decision to go for it or by that time, it wasn't enough time to find a play that they couldn't get the personnel in. Use a timeout. Like in cloudy situations like that, especially in situations of football, timeouts are meant for that too. You know, get your team, get your guys in order. Let's figure this out. So, man, look, I'm telling you, if it was to your point, why can't Tom Brady do it? I think Tom Brady wanted to do it. I think again, Bowles castrated the offense in this situation. He made the decision to say, no, we're not going to let's just try to draw them outside, which again is a conservative type of coaching mindset. Like you want them to give you 5, but you can't trust the offense to get you 2.
All right, here we go. So back at it. Talking about Todd Bowles and his press conference. Here is one of the other main questions that Todd Bowles was asked, and we'll talk about the whole we'll talk about the blowback that he got from the answer that he gave on this questionnaire. This is Todd Bowles from Monday after the loss to the Cleveland Browns, 23-17 in OT.
No, the defense has to get off the field no matter what. I think offensively, we weren't very good on 3rd down at all, and we got the 3rd down. We had a bunch of 3rd and longs, at least 7+. There had to be 9 or 10 of them, and we probably were over when we did those things. And when we had 3rd and short, at least we were almost 50-50. It might have been 2 or 5 at that point. But if you can't make 3rd downs, you can't stay on the field. But the defense's job is to stop them no matter what. We don't make excuses trying to say the offense did this and the defense did that. We had plays on special teams, offense and defense, to win that ball game, and we didn't do it.
So that was Todd Bowles on Monday, man. Basically saying that, hey, we got to be better on third down. I think the Bucs were 4 out of 15 on third downs. Somehow, some way, this completely logical and factual point turned into, well, damn it, Todd Bowles again going to a conservative deal, like he's playing for third downs. I don't know how the hell anybody listened to what I just heard, man, and came up with that. They came up with that silly shit like that. That didn't make any sense to me. They're like, you can win on you should get first down on first down to second down, right? Like, I don't know how folks got to that point, man, but it made me laugh, and it's something else where people have taken that excerpt and made it to a complete different narrative that I can't deal with. But what is your take on that? Did you hear something different? Am I crazy? Am I the only one who heard him say, hey, we got to bet on third downs?
Nah, man, it's exactly what he was saying, man. He was saying, hey, when we get to the third downs, we have to be better. We got to convert. It's not that we going through first and second down to get the third down. It's just, if we do get the third down, we have to convert. So people just take it and try to smear campaign it and shame them, and it's not coming. That type of narrative is not coming from a good place. It's just trying to screw the words up and make them look bad, or try to insult his intelligence or whatever the case is. But I think anyone that's looking at this, other than what the words are coming out of his mouth, are just not coming from a good place, man. They just not. They just mad. So you can twist anything. You're gonna twist a person's words to make them sound and look like whatever they want to sound and look like. So no, he just stating the obvious. Hey man, we got to be better on third down. We got to try to prevent being in third and long. Even if we are in third and long, we have to convert. I mean, those are the telltale signs to those drives. We can't sustain drives if we can't convert third downs. If we're not getting the first down, first and second down or whatever, just be able to keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving. When it comes down to third down, we just have to be better. We have to convert. We have to convert. So it's not saying that, hey, we got 3 tries to get a first down. He's saying when we do get the third down, if we do get the third down, based on what we did on the first and second down, we have to convert on these third down to keep the drive moving. Because in essence, that's the problem. That's why we have bottom low time possession after league. That's why we don't score no points, because the offense just doesn't stay on the field. So that's it in a nutshell. Like if you want to bring all the problems of offensively, whether it's injuries, execution, blocking, coaching, play calling, and play sequencing, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, you got to convert. I don't care what the play is. Can we execute the play? So nah, man, it's just a lot of people reaching, and people just mad, and they're gonna make a problem out of something, man. So
right. And again, it's coming. And it's coming from you. We spend the vast majority of our time talking, talking about the issues that we have with Todd. Well, issues that you have that Todd Bowles needs to address, but you're not making shit out of, you're not coming up with shit out of thin air, crazy ass narratives that make this man look crazy, and all this other stuff. You just don't agree with some of the things that he's done, or at least in this Week 12 game against the Browns, some things that he's done. But people have now taken that and they really want this dude. They really want to hate this guy. They really want him to be, discredit him and make him dumb. You see not all, but I see people making the comparison like between him and Lovie Smith. Couldn't be any different. Couldn't be any more different. From Lovie Smith was Bruce Arians was way more than a Lovie Smith than a Todd Bowles. Other than the fact that the 2 black men who are head coaches for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers literally have nothing else in common. Low tone, maybe a low profile kind of a deal, but not Byron Leftwich, but Lovie Smith was way more arrogant and boisterous with all his silly ass claims, and Bruce Arians came in with the same thing and stayed the same way.
Right.
But there was nothing else that those 2 cats have in common in my mind. I haven't seen it. Nothing.
But,
coaching styles, no nothing.
But it's accountable. I'm gonna go ahead and say, I'm gonna go as far as to say it's accountable any window they're saying about Lovie Smith and Bowles about, the black coach, and he might not be, is how can I put it, man, intelligent enough, or you just kind of just not giving him the benefit of the doubt, just kind of just challenging his intelligence, like just making it seem like, well, you're this black coach, like it's that's how I get it. When you get to that point where you're stooping that low, like that's just innuendos, or you just insulting just anything that's coming out of his mouth because you don't believe he just knows what the fuck he's talking about. So
Right.
that's when it gets to that point, man. It doesn't help when it is a black coach, because at some point it started happening with Dirk Cutter when it got really bad.
I was really going to mention Dirk Cutter.
Yeah, when it got bad, Dirk Cutter couldn't give you a right answer. Like everything came out of Dirk Cutter's mouth was wrong, and
nothing. He everything he said was terrible and bad to everybody.
So that's why I think that's why I think the energy is it's just like, hey man, like, but it doesn't look good because he is a black coach. So people have, how can you say, less patience? You just really just not taking it as, hey, let's sit back and trust the guy. You just mad. So everything that's going on, you're just mad. So it's nothing he can say that's gonna make sense to you. You're just mad. So if he say, hey, we just have to be better on third down, that doesn't mean that we're playing to get the third down and we just not making it. Like,
right?
Come on.
It's man, I'm telling you, it's one of the funniest. When I say funny, I really mean stupidest things I've seen this season. That was just one of the stupidest. Again, everybody's looking for something to nitpick over. I mean, I understand the frustrations and emotions of being, about a loss.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, it come down to this, and just it's basically people's emotions. When it come down to this, it's just being stupid and people's emotions. Again, like you mentioned, we saw this with Dirk Cutter. Specific deal here. I mentioned two of them: Dirk Cutter and Bruce Arians, and and the whole timeout deal, and that Bowles gave that everybody was like, what the hell are you talking about? About punting the ball.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Bruce Arians said that he took a delay of game penalty to give a field goal kicker at the chance to win a goddamn game, a game-winning field goal? He said he took a 5-yard penalty, delay of game penalty, to give the kicker a better chance. Do you remember him saying this?
Man, I don't remember that. I do remember I remember when Dirk Cutter said he took a delay of the game to get the offense more room to run a play. I remember that. We was in the red zone and James took a delay of game. It was a delay of game. He was like, well, we just took a delay of game to give us more room to run the play. And I was like, God damn, Dirk. Like,
you know what? I don't remember that one.
I see, but I remember that because that's when I knew, like, yeah, he smoked. He out of there. Like, you can't say that. And you can't justify something like that. We in the red zone near the goal line. You say we take a delay of game so you can have enough room in the touchdown to run a play. Like, you don't have anything that you can run that doesn't need a lot of room. Like, you just say, hey, well, since it's the vertical offense, so it's long developing routes. They need space to get people around, but that's not how you play the game, man. That's not how it works.
I don't remember that one.
I remember that. Like, I remember that because at that point, I think I was about done with Dirk. When he said that, I was like, yeah, that's when I just gonna start grabbing my lifeboat. I'm jumping off the Dirk Cutter ship. Yeah, man.
And I was a big Dirk Cutter fan, man. But again, he caught so much hell, boy. And a lot of that hell that he caught, which again, I say again, but this is the first time I've mentioned this, it's because the emotions that people have. Specifically at that time, it was because so many people felt so offensive about our quarterback. Mm-hmm. So anything that went on that made that quarterback not look as pristine or as highly favored as they thought that he would and should be, it all came down on the coach. All of it. We talked about the defense. We talking about the defense being the scapegoat. Yeah. Coach was the scapegoat.
Yeah,
his whole staff was scapegoat.
Yeah, he had to fall. He had to fall on the blade for James. Like, and it was fucked up to say it because at the end of the day, James still didn't work out. So,
we got rid of 2 coaches for that, man.
Yeah. So that was my whole thing when I looked on it, because and one guy that I like, I think he ended up. That's when Dirk Cutter became head coach and he started calling plays with Todd Monken. Todd Monken was calling. He was down them up, but I think in the end, I think Dirk Cutter he had to fall on the blade for James because he couldn't turn James into what the fan base or what the front office wanted.
And what the GM wanted, right? Right.
But then when Bruce Aaron come in and he was like, nah, he ain't it, they jettison. So
yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's the business of football, though, bro. Like, that's
right.
how it works.
Right, and we were talking about emotions and all that stuff. Remember, there was also, again, looking at the time, comparing these coaches, Dirk Cutt at one point was like, hey, guys, if I knew the answer, somebody asked him a question about, hey, how do you fix such and such? And guys, if we had the answer, we'd fix it. If we had the answer, we'd already fixed it.
Right.
Dude, I mean, there was so many people who went in on Dirk Cutt at that stage. They just killed that man. Literally, this following season.
I just think Dirk was tired, man. He was Dirk came in, he was looking young and light.
All
and
spry.
Yeah, but I think about the third year, man, Dirk was burnt out, man. It was a lot. Because I think deep down, Dirk wanted to play Fitz. I think the veterans on the team wanted to play. I wanted Fitz to keep playing because it gave us a shot. It gave us a stability. And I think when that decision came from the top to say, nope, we gonna play James, we can't pick out the decision. It put the team and the coaching staff back in the position they want to be in, where they have to make this work. Versus we have somebody out there that can make this work, or at least do
something.
At least make it look like we know what we're doing. With James out there, it was just all over the place. So yeah, man, and it's funny how this whole story worked, because now James crying at the Saints talking about how he lost his job. Like, the positive is I lost my job because of I ain't supposed to lose my job due to injury. Well, you weren't playing good, James. Like, I don't get it. The entitlement.
That's a conversation for tomorrow when we're talking about the BUCS versus the Saints coming up on Monday night.
Man.
That's gonna be a deal. But going back to that Dirk Cutter thing, man, he was saying I don't know how to I don't have answers. Like if I knew how to fix it, I would have.
Yeah.
Fan base hated him. Following season, Bruce Arians said the exact same thing. Not a peep. You know, a peep from everybody was emotionally tied into him because they liked what he said. They liked his demeanor. Todd Bowles don't have the demeanor that a lot of these cats want him to have. He don't comment like he's not a part of the team. He don't comment like he's an outsider also watching the team. He doesn't do that. So a lot of fans don't go to him. Plus, again, basically they can't relate to him because they don't see them in him.
Right.
So he ain't it for a lot of these cats. Right off the bat, he's if the BUCS ain't winning, and again, his side of the ball, and I got to say his side of the ball because that's how coaching has been working in the NFL. The head coach has a specialty. That's why he's the head coach. Every head coach in the NFL generally has a specialty. They got that one thing they do, that they make executive decision makers on a lot of things, like you mentioned earlier. But for the vast majority, they get there because they are specialized in one side of the ball or another.
Right.
Bruce Arians allegedly was a specialized offensive guy. We didn't win the Super Bowl with his specialized offensive mind. We won it with Todd Bowles' defense. Todd Bowles has a different set of skills and a different mentality when it comes to his being a personality. When it comes to his being the face of the BUCS. He's not that rah-rah guy. He'll tell cats what they need to hear and pretty much won't offer a whole lot more outside of that. He's not going to throw people under the bus, and he ain't going to talk a whole lot of crazy shit out in the media. That's not his thing. So he's not that caricature that people want to see, especially BUCS. As our fellow BUCS fans love to fall in love with caricatures of fucking people like John Gruden, Bruce Arians. At one time, people like Raheem Morris, I believe. I can't say, but that's not what we have right now with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is just like a big father figure for a lot of these guys on their football, on his defense specifically.
Right.
His defense is killing still.
Yeah.
So that's why I think there's going to be a big hang up when people actually realize. I don't know how they haven't realized it yet, but the identity of the BUCS is the defense, and their defense is taking on the personality of Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles welcomes all these challenges. Todd Bowles is basically he doesn't complain, which a lot of most coaches won't, but he's definitely not throwing anybody under the bus about all these challenges he's getting from the offensive side of the ball that making his side of the ball work so much harder to be productive. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, I believe, are ranked like the 7th overall points allowed.
Defense. Yeah.
The Bucs would probably be number 2, number 3 if the offense actually had any damn thing going.
If it was complimentary football, if it was complimentary football, yes, the defense would be much better. Because of the fact that they're not on the field as much and they're having the offense of the opposing team in situations they don't want to be in, that allow our defense to actually attack and do what we like to do. That's blitzing and that's controlling, the line of scrimmage, and that's really putting the offense in situations where they're more prone for mistakes. Since we're playing with an offense that can't really hold up their end of the deal on their side of the ball, it affects how the defense is played, because now you're playing that you don't want the offense. You're playing in a way that you don't want mistakes to happen versus imposing your will. So when you have a certain defense that's saying, well, we can't really play aggressive because we don't want any plays to go over our head, or you have an offense or you have a head coach that came out and said, well, we didn't do this because I didn't want to risk a turnover, when Tom Brady is probably one of the least turnover quarterbacks in the NFL this season. So it's for Todd Bowles, man. I think that's his philosophy. I think he's not an aggressive coach by nature. I think defensively, I think he likes to play the way he plays. But if he's making the decision as a whole, as a team, he don't want the team to put. It's hard to put my finger on it, Robert. As a head coach, he's coaching the team. He coached to not have to make least amount of mistakes. If that makes sense, because I remember he said something about it in the off season. They were saying how he was going to run practices, and he was like, "Well, we're going to run practices. We're not going to run practices full bore, so the players don't be burnt out midway through the season. So the practices are safe, And that's when I think there came a question up. They were saying, "Hey, do the team run one-on-ones?" I think Tom Brady said they don't do one-on-ones. And in the press conference, they asked him. He paused and he was like, "Yeah, I do one-on-one." So I think, philosophy-wise, as a defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles loves to bring the dogs. He loves to play a style of defense. I think as a head coach, he's one of those guys that, hey, I don't want to make a decision they lose us the game. Like, he just want to play the game and let the game unfold how it is. He's not going to take a lot of risk as a head coach. He just wants things to work the way it works. So with Todd Bowles, man, and I just think that's how he is as a person. I think when he doesn't have to worry about making the big decisions as a head coach, he can coach how you want the defense to coach based on what's going on in the game. But if he has to worry about the offense and the defense, I think he lacks that balance on, what he wants the offense, how he wants the offense to do versus what he wants the defense to do. And I think it showed in that Browns game how he felt about the offense and how he just kind of always defaulted to the defense, saying, well, the defense is playing, we're going to play to the strength of the team, which he's not wrong. But
I was about to say, because it proved fucking correct.
Yeah,
These cats went back on the field, man, and 3 more goddamn times punting.
Right. So
and fucking up.
He's not wrong. I just think in certain situations, he doesn't take the shots he needs as a head coach from using the offense. He uses the offense on, well, if you guys can't get in 3 downs, I'm not going to risk doing it on 4th down and putting the defense again. I get it. Like, wholesomely, I don't have a problem with the mindset. I get it. It makes sense. I just think in certain situations, you have to just say, you just got to roll the dice. Like, it makes sense. Like, saving your money makes sense, but sometimes when you gamble, it pay off. So sometimes when you in the flow of that game, and especially in that game, that's why I think me and a lot of fans just kind of just was on that type of tip on, like, you got to do something, man. You have the Tom Brady for a reason. You have these Mike Evans and Julio Jones and all these players for a reason. Like, you're coaching like you have Kyle Trask. Coach showed up in the Browns game as far as being conservative, like not taking enough chances with the offense in interest of the defense. Like, he knows the defense is a strong point. He's not wrong. I just think in some point you still have to, use your offense for better or for worse. Like, and I think it showed up in the Browns game. Like, I think it would make if certain decisions would make sense if we had Kyle Trask instead of Tom Brady, because you're like, well, look, I just don't, I'm not gonna put this weight on this guy. But I think it kind of goes against the whole idea of having a Tom Brady where you can put certain chances in certain certain situations in the football game on him, and you just have to live and die with it for the fact that you have a strong defense. So yeah, man, I just think they have to find that balance. I think it is a decision making type of battle in certain situations between Leftwich, Brady, and Bowles. I think Bowles shuts down a lot of the chances, and when Tom Brady want to take them, then Leftwich want to take them. So they have to find their balance, and I think that's what Brady was lamenting, as far as the players and the coaches. Like, people are not seeing the same thing. Like, Brady seeing, hey, this is an opportunity to score. Byron Leftwich was looking at it, hey, this is an opportunity where, hey, we can just use the defense to keep pinning them back. I think from a macro standpoint, people are not seeing things the same way and not being on the same page. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, and again, I'm still pretty much torn. Like, people think it's like completely, it's complete logic. It is complete, like, without question, how the hierarchy goes. Like, I'm not even sure. Like, I'm really not. Because the first thing that Todd Bowles said when he, in his opening press conference, I'm standing on my side of the ball.
Right.
I'm saying, so I'm not sure he's making these calls when it comes to, from a game manager standpoint. Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. The head coach be like, hey, I'm putting my foot down and put my thumb down. I'm making this damn call, like, get off the field. But you got an OC on the sideline who also should be like, and I'm literally thinking that he is. I apologize. I'm about to say I'm thinking he's. I don't know. I'm not even. There's no way for me to be 100% sure, because again, those two guys between Leftwich and Brady, it seemed like those two cats would be making the call. One of the two is making those calls. I really don't feel like Bowles is the guy who's like shutting them down like that. I just don't. Like, and I've thought about that for a hard. Like, when the season first started, I forgot there was one scenario in the in week 2. Who the hell we
played week 2. We played
was it New Orleans?
Was it New Orleans? Week 2.
Am I crazy? Maybe it was New Orleans. But there was one point in the game I'm like, man, who the hell made that call? Like, who signed off on this? I'm like, who the hell signed on this call? I'm trying to think, and I'm literally trying to think of the specific play. I meant to pull it up, but I'm like, man, that don't feel like, that'd be something like that Bowles are like, it wouldn't be something he would veto. Like, it felt like something. It felt like, if it just felt like a scenario was like, hey, what does the offense feel like doing? And it felt like we went with the offense rather than like, hey, the conservative deal. Because I know right now that's the whole deal. Like, Todd Bowles is conservative. Listen, again, I keep going back to the fact that he's seen what this offense can do over the last 3 seasons. He's seen how he's had to come in and save their asses. And I don't know how much confidence he think that he has, because we haven't seen anything that to deter him from being conservative, or not conservative, but from like literally putting all his faith into him.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and you're right. I mean, I think he has his reasons. If Will's a high flying offense and Will putting points on the board, I think he'll be a lot more.
Or even moving the ball, not even putting points on the board, even moving the ball. Because I apologize. I interrupt you. I apologize, but I'm gonna go back because we talked about this whole whether or not he should have called a timeout and this and that in the regulation of the Week 12 game against the Browns. Had the BUCS been actually moving the ball, not even just scoring again, had they just been moving the ball, I think everybody goes full on. Everybody, Leftwich, Brady, Bowles, everybody on that sideline, like, hey, go, run, hurry up and go. We got something we can work with. They had absolutely nothing to work with. No momentum, trying to make something out of nothing. And I know the percentage of him throwing a touchdown was 0.2% or some ignorant ass thing that somebody pulled out their ass. I'm like, man, I don't give a damn what that fucking advanced statistics say. I know I've watched. I was going to every home game in Tampa this season.
Right.
Drove my black ass from Atlanta and drove my 7.5 hours over to Atlanta. I've watched this man throw at least 7 passes that should have been intercepted.
Yeah.
In the last 3 weeks, I know I've seen at least 4. So I know that, I mean, the statistics say one thing, but I'm like, the gameplay says another. Like, anything could have happened. You know, we can talk about the timeout, you know, for another 3 hours, but I'm not. But there's a reason why, you know, you don't just go blindly with faith. And if you ain't passing the eye test, you ain't passing the eye test.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't work. And it has to go with the flow of the game more so than statistic analysis, which ain't nobody got that much goddamn time to be looking at on the sideline in the course of a game. So I mean, it's a weird deal here. But Todd Bowles has an uphill battle to win back, you know, whatever love half-hearted fans, like, you know, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans around the country and so forth. There's a whole lot of them that are very vocal, that have something to say again, you know, take an excerpt and reimagine it and making it something crazy, you know, to kind of discredit him and what he can do and what he's done for the team.
Right.
You know, that's going to happen. It's just the way that life goes. It's just not just football, but Todd Bowles does have a way to go in way of winning the division title and then making his way up to the playoffs and actually making something happen before, you know, he gets alleviated, or, you know, all this pressure gets alleviated off of him of trying to make him look like a dumbass, you know.
Yeah, winning fix everything, man. He got to win. We got to string some games together. So I think he knows that, and like I said, we both got points on it. I think it just like, at certain points, man, it's just like, goddamn, you know, what are you gonna do? I just feel like, man, that defense. I think he's so defensive minded. I mean, and rightfully so, dog. Like, I get it, man. I get that offense wasn't doing anything, man. It wasn't performing to what his liking was to make a certain decision like that, or go with a decision to go forward. Yeah, man. It is. I mean, and you know, situations like that, you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. And that's what sometimes it boils down to. Like, I mean, hindsight is 20/20 for a reason. So, I mean, you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. Like, just. Yeah, man. It just didn't help anything when we actually lose the game, and we didn't take a shot to try to win the game. And then your reason after the game was like, it didn't make sense. So it wasn't a good situation all around. He didn't have a good explanation for it anyway. Explanation that would have said, okay,
that was never gonna be.
Yeah, but, I mean, he could have. I mean, he really. I mean, the thing was, it worked the way he said it worked. It just, in the end, you know, they scored at the end. You know what I mean? It actually went the way he said it went. Like, hey,
exactly, it did.
We got the ball back. We just couldn't do nothing with the ball. To his credit, that the offense wasn't moving the ball. The problem was he was saying that, hey, if they get the ball back, he was saying, in essence, if we get the offense the ball back, they was able to move the ball and score. Yeah. Well, that wasn't the case. I mean, it kind of went against the point because we wasn't moving the ball. It was close enough to at least try to score. So I don't think nobody was saying, okay, bro, if you punt the ball and then we stop and we get the ball back, we were just gonna run down the field. I don't think that was obvious at all. So when you say we're not moving the ball, but then you expect us to move the ball when we get the ball for the defense, it just didn't make sense. So that's why a lot of people, even including myself, was like, that didn't, you know, it didn't help the decision to punt at that situation, man. It just didn't help.
Right. And we'll pause for a second one more time, man. Take a quick music break. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna talk about what might have been positives in that week 12 loss to the Browns. We'll talk about what possibly could have been a positive, and we'll get into what how the defense feels, you know, being as used as they were and having to deal with the injuries and still be productive. We'll take a quick pause and we'll come back and we'll talk about that. Right back at it. Hey, so we talked about all the stuff, man, that kind of went into the game. But one thing I want to take a look at real quick, man. I want to talk about this defense. Actually, I apologize. Before we talk about the defense, just anything in general, anything that you can pull and be like, hey, like this a positive, something we can possibly build on. Is there anything other than the defense that you saw, like anything that you saw at any point from the offense where you're like, hey, well, maybe maybe this, maybe that, anything that you can pull and use as a guiding light, as a any kind of thing that kind of just make you feel like, okay, it's not as bad as I think.
Yeah, I think our running back depth is better than what most people give him credit for. Of course, with Rashad White coming in and being the starter, and I think Sneak, Keyshawn Vaughn, I think he came in and had some good reps. So I think in that running back room, we're just not dependent on Leonard Fournette to just kind of carry the load. I think we have some good running back. We have a good running back room, even with Sneak. They just kind of really just becoming the odd man out because we got Gio Bernard back, and we know what he can do as far as him being able to be a good third down back, catching and moving out of the backfield, which is another element we probably miss. You know what I'm saying? As far as the offense being in certain situations like a 4th and 2, that we can kind of scheme Gio Bernard to kind of catch something out the backfield. Because when you think about it, when last year or earlier this year, how we was using him, was he was doing a lot of those option routes out the backfield, and they was working. You know what I mean? So maybe getting that element back in the offense, would kind of help, move the ball, or kind of open up another aspect of scheming on offense. But what I can build on as far as one of those positives, that's one of the main things. I think we got a good running back room. I think Rashad White stepped up to the challenge to take the starting snaps. I think he did good. I think he was trying hard. You can tell he's very nimble. He's athletic. He will try to get those yards. He's a great runner
too, man. Smooth.
Great runner, man. He can run that rock. And I think for what it's worth, when Keyshawn Vaughn came in, he had good reps. Keyshawn Vaughn had good reps. Like I was like, he was getting first down. So I think a good positive from this game and just moving forward collectively for the offense is, we have a good running back room. And another positive I go into is that I think Julio Jones is getting healthy and healthier. And I think that's something to keep our eye on. And I think once we get the collective starters that we started the season with the ideal of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, and Russell Gage, and get those guys up and rolling and start getting some continuity and getting some chemistry going, I think that's something to really be had and something to really keep an eye on, keep an eye out for. Because I think those 4 receivers have yet to play together, or if they haven't played long. But we haven't seen the complement of receivers we had the idea of starting this offense off with all year. And for what it's worth, I think Russell Gage is good. I think Russell Gage is, of course, he's not a number 1. He's damn not a number 2. But I think if you surround him with Mike Evans or Chris Godwin and Julio, Russell Gage can be that guy that I think we wanted Tyler Johnson to be, or we want Scotty Miller to be. Just that guy that's going to take that 3rd or 4th cornerback or that safety and just eat him alive. I think Russell Gage can do that. So first and foremost, the running back room is I think we have a solid running back room going forward, getting Gio Bernard back with Sneak, Rashad White, absent of Leonard Fournette. So we're not in a position where, even though we're not a good running team, we definitely going to be a worse running team without many. I don't think that's the case. We down there to do a little more. But I think as far as the wide receiver room also, just with that, I think getting Julio back healthy and having Julio play the way he's playing, getting those after getting those yards after catch, getting those yards, because that's what he's really good at. That's what we're missing in his offense. I love Mike Evans, but he's not good at running with the ball. That's why it burns my soul when we throw bubble screens to Mike Evans. Like, he's 6'5", he's not nimble, he's not agile. Like, why are you asking him to navigate behind the line of scrimmage and run? Like, I get why we do with Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin's just one of those type of guys. He's just a all around type of guy. I love what Chris Godwin do. He do a lot of the dirty work for the offense. But I think seeing those flash of Julio getting around, running with the ball and catching and getting more comfortable and starting to use him more, those my positives. And of course, is seeing how we all look as a wide receiver group when we get Russell Gage back, and just kind of seeing, just kind of getting a glimpse of this offense somewhat at full strength, because we haven't been there all year. And that's one of the things I've been kind of still being, mindful of before I just kind of lay my judgment down on the offense altogether is, well, we haven't been healthy. We haven't been healthy all year, even starting with in training camp losing Jensen, and for what it's worth, Aaron Stenny. So I think if we just kind of get this offense back to full strength, or as strong as we can get, for all the projected starters, minus the guys on the offensive line, I think we can hopefully start seeing something a little more juice on the field, a little more movement with the ball. So that's one of the kind of the positive aspirations I have for this offense, just coming out of the Browns game.
All right, cool. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on the running back room. I'm glad that, we've all gotten a chance now to see Rachaad White and see what he can look like. Rachaad White has the kind of acceleration that I pounded the table for when I talked about keeping a Ronald Jones. Because Ronald Jones, he gets to the line of scrimmage fast and then he goes. And it's not a whole lot of pitter-patter of the feet like we see with Fournette. Fournette has his place, man. Fournette in his prime, even still now, Fournette is a force when he's used correctly. I've now gotten to the point where I'm thinking Fournette is a better change of pace back, being a change of pace as the second guy, not the first guy to get things going. He's the guy to keep things moving and make the defense tired more so than to be the guy that can start it and get going. He's not a catalyst. I don't see him as a catalyst at the running back position like he used to be, back in his prime days when he was big and faster than everybody at LSU, and then he kind of shocked the league a little bit. But he can absolutely run over cats. He can absolutely hammer and hurt some guys, every now and again if he's not trying to, do anything stupid like run people over, finding contact when it shouldn't even be there. But yeah, the running back room I believe can be and probably is in good hands with the likes of Rachaad White leading the pack and everybody else kind of following, behind him and finding their place. I 100% agree with you on that. The wide receiver room, like you said, we haven't seen everybody healthy. We haven't seen everybody utilized. So, we do have the hope of, maybe we do see, get to the point where we can maybe basically out talent other teams. Because we have a schedule coming up where it's kind of favorable when it comes to talent, the talent aspect for most of the season. So yeah, I mean those are definitely good positives, and I agree with you on pretty much all of those, man. But yeah, I think the biggest positive, once again, basically it's a recurrent act. Biggest positive for me, defense. Defense kept dealing with injuries. Came into the game with an injury to Vita Vea's foot. We didn't know how he'd play. We didn't know how well they do against the run. And for some reason, man, even though Nick Chubb got a bunch of yards, did not feel like he was killing the BUCS defense whatsoever, despite the number of time that he was getting the carries and as much as the BUCS were out there on the field.
Yeah, because the thing is, that was the only way they was moving the ball. Jacoby Brissett wasn't doing much for the quarterback position, passing the ball or carving us up from his arm. They was moving the ball because they were getting them chunk yardage or run plays. And I tweeted this, and I was just like, well, given the fact, I really have Nick Chubb as probably like the top 3 running back in the league. Like he's the ultimate running back. Like he's been this way ever since Georgia. Like I was pounding the table for us to get him in the draft. We got Rojo that year. But, Nick Chubb was the first running back taken in the second round, the second day. And I was like, can we please get Nick Chubb? Because I just knew how good he was. He's an extremely great back and somewhat underrated because he's quiet. He don't have a lot of personality. He plays for the Browns.
Right.
But I think Nick Chubb is that offense. Like, it didn't feel like he was stabbing us in the heart with those runs. Yes, that was moving the ball, but that's all they was doing. Jacoby Brissett's job was to protect the ball, get the ball, move the ball around when you can. But, even with Amari Cooper making those drops or whatnot, it still didn't feel like offensively they was having a way with us. Like, they had 10 points all game. So, I don't give a damn. Let them run as long as they ain't scoring. So, and granted, I didn't go into this game thinking, we was going to hold Nick Chubb to a historic low. No. The Browns got a good offensive run game, like from the offensive line to the running back, even with Kareem Hunt coming in and being a chance to pass back. They can run the ball. Like that's foolish. Like they gonna run the ball. I already went into that. Like so, with the defense, man. Once again, I think the defense still came to show up the play. I think they did as much as they could have done. They played enough to win. They definitely played good enough to win that game. Probably 2 times over. Like it just, man, like the defense. I'll tell you one guy that I'm starting to, warm up about also, man. Keanu Neal. Like if people ain't really paying attention to what he does when he get in the game, I think he's the enforcer that James that Whitehead was last year. But I think he got a little more to him, and I think of course he's a veteran. And I think he's playing the position well. Like you saw some of the blitzes he was doing coming off the edge, blitzing and things like that. I
Yeah.
think Keanu Neal is carving a role out for himself very good in his offense, especially when Whitehead, I mean not Whitehead, but Winfield went out, and I think Keanu Neal came right on in and gave good reps. So of course Winfield is who he is. But I really like Keanu Neal and what he brings to the table and what he's doing from just his standpoint, not being a starter, but being a rotational guy, being a very dependable rotational guy, and bringing that force on the field. He let it be known who he is and when he's out there. So that's another guy I think is kind of one of those guys that a lot of people probably don't talk about enough. That yeah, I like Keanu Neal. I like what he's doing for us. I like what he brings to the table. So definitely.
Cool, man. One of the I play one more real quick. I play one more little clip here from Todd Bowles' press conference after the loss. This one right here burned me. This one right here pissed me off a little bit and made me laugh. I want to find out who this was that asked this question. This was one of the final questions someone asked at the press conference given after Sunday's loss.
Just your defense's inability to close out games or get the opponent off the field late in games, whether it was at Pittsburgh or this game the other day, or even in Seattle, who scored a couple times in the fourth quarter. How troublesome is that? And what's the cause of it? Just the defense not being able to close things out.
It's disappointing. Obviously, you want to be well in 2 minutes on defense.
Yeah, that was some fucking clown. I don't know who they. I hope somebody tweet me, email me. I want to know who that is that asked that question. And it's a thing too, man, because you know what, it's indicative of exactly how a lot of the media, local media at very least, how they see this team.
Yeah.
How they see this team, that the defense is basically auxiliary. It's optional. Like the defense is being held to a stage where literally the defense basically have to play a perfect game. Even Greg Allman, who I have a great deal of respect for, somebody mentioned, the Bucs defense played a damn good game or played really well. The response was, yeah, for 59 minutes. It's crazy to me, man.
Yeah, man.
The expectation for the defense is to play damn near perfect, damn near flawless football. I want to go back real quick. I want to get this, and this is when I find the things I want to get your intake on, man. Here.
Yeah.
But a couple weeks ago, when the Bucs lost to Rams, star cornerback Jalen Ramsey said, like, we shouldn't even been in that position. Like somebody from offense has to come in and be the guy, be a dog and close out games on offense. Like we should have never been in that position. We shouldn't even been on the field. I mentioned that at the top of our talk here. What do you think, man? I 100% feel like the Bucs defense, somebody can be like, hey, like he damn right, and we feel the same. Like we should not have been on the field, in that position where we could lose a game after put on the performance that we did. Obviously, again, I mentioned that Todd Bowles has like a personality that the defense is taking on, and they welcome those kind of challenges, to be playing games like that and be put in those positions to be, to show how tough they are. But goddamn, man, when is enough? Yeah. When can the defense actually take a second to breathe? Like serious business. Like what is it that makes this the perspective? I'm sorry, perspective, but the perception of this team be so skewed that the defense has to play flawlessly in order to have a chance at winning every week?
Man, that's hard to explain, because not for me. I'm just saying to kind of explain their logic to it, because at the end of the day, all they see is points on the board. Like if somebody scored, then it's the defense. But to Jalen Ramsey's credit and to Jalen Ramsey's point, at what point do we get the benefit of the doubt? Like if all we're looked at as, okay, we have to just go out there and stop them no matter what. That's cool and all, but that's not being practical. Like I say, the law averages, like I said about the Browns game, the law averages, you keep giving the team the ball, they gonna figure out how to score. Like they're gonna score. Like it's not a defense on this planet, that play 16 games and then no team score. It's not a defense that had 0 points against for the season. It's not gonna happen. So when you look at a defense or you put this defense in this type of box that, hey, the defense can't close out games or the defense is getting scored on the last minute of the game. Well, the thing is, this is what Jalen Ramsey is talking about. Like, at what point do the offense say, you know what, we got it? Man, you know what, y'all gonna, man, it don't even matter. It don't even matter if they score. It don't even matter. The game is out of reach anyway. It don't even matter. Defenses want to feel like they too. They want to go out and say, hey, man, we're just going to just ride this thing on now. We ain't just going to let anything get behind us. We're going to keep everything in front of us. It really don't matter. Let's just try not to get hurt. Let's just go ahead and get through this game. Let's just go through the motion for the most part. Let's just go through the motion. It's just fourth quarter. They're down by 21. It's no mathematical way they can win this game. We can let them score, and it's not going to matter. Defenses want to feel like that, and I think that's what Jalen Ramsey is coming to. Like, why is the pressure on us for all game to stop the other team when the offense isn't holding up their end of the deal to score on the other team, and when we're playing bad defenses? So I think for Jalen Ramsey, man, I think Jalen Ramsey said what a lot of players want to say about their team in situations like that, including us. That, hey, at the end of the day, goddamn, we held them to 17 points. What else you want us to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, we held them to 10 points all the way down to the fourth quarter. What else you want us to do? We playing the Browns here. Like, and like I say, not to talk bad to them. Like I tweeted this about the game. I said, don't treat a team we're playing like that college team. Like we just the automatic. Right. Yeah, you give every team we play, I give them the respect. They're professionals too. Like, they're experts at their job. Like, it's any given Sunday, that shit real. So I think at the end of the day, man, I think what Jalen Ramsey said is what a lot of defensive players would like to say about their team when they're put in positions like that where the offense just can't do anything. It's the outcome of this game is going to fall on the backs of the defense. And nobody don't want to feel like that, man, as a defense, because you're reacting to whatever the offense is doing. And some points, you just really be with your hands tied behind your back. You call this play and they call the right play for it. You like the Carter Davis play at the end. Something unfortunate, blow the whole game wide open. When in essence, it shouldn't even been there. That could have happened and it should not have had no bearing on the game, on the outcome. Because if we were doing what we supposed to do on the offensive side, who cares if they scored the touchdown at the end? Or it shouldn't have mattered. It shouldn't have mattered
at that point.
And that was overtime, correct? So it's just like, again, like it shouldn't have been players like this, especially Carter Davis, where you're one-on-one, you're matched up like that. It shouldn't have came down to a point where, like you say, I have to play flawless. I can't slip. I can't, make the wrong read, and the game is just over with based on my mistake. When collectively as an offense, their job is to score points. So I get it, man, and I want to do, if guys on our team feel like they deep down. I want Devin White Sweet want to say this sometimes. I want to, if some of these guys just be like, especially some of these veterans or people that probably been with the team and understand, like, hell no, like 2-3 years ago we didn't have this problem. We got a problem, like. And once again, Todd Bowles preached it as no matter what the defense got to do what they do. Yeah, that's cool and all, but hey, man, like, you need to let's address the elephant in the room, because if we want to be real about it, we're still the top 10 defense. We're still a damn Super Bowl defense. We're still the same caliber defense to win a Super Bowl. If the offense pull their weight.
If the offense pull their weight.
If the offense pull their weight, that damn makes us a better defense. So, you have guys that probably have that mindset looking like, man, god damn, like I get like a Levante Davis, a guy that was saying, hey, I don't know if I want to come back when we had James going through all them years, the dark years, or you got a guy like this supremely talented, he looking like, look, man, I'm wasting my career here, I'm wasting my talent here. You have guys like that that's coming back on the premise of we have a Super Bowl chance. you know, guys like Levante Davis can ride off into the sunset. He has all the stats and accolades to make him Hall of Fame. That's no question. I go to bat for Levante Davis all I could. That's my son. Don't worry about him. But nah, man. But to the point, man. That's how I feel. I just feel like Jalen Ramsey said how he felt, and I think it needed to be said because that just really just addresses the elephant in that locker room. As far as the Rams are a bad team this year. So when you can look, and Jalen Ramsey ain't playing good this year, and I think that's all a testament of how he feels about the team and how he feels about the offense. Like, am I really gonna go out here and get this thing 110% when we just I don't have any help from my offense. I'm not gonna risk turn my ACL, turn my Achilles for a team that I just feel like we ain't going anywhere. You know, I think that's real. I think it creeps in the head. There's a guy that, you know, when you playing high school football and you know you suck, I'm not gonna go out here and run myself into these big. I'm not doing that. Look,
I'm trying to get my scholarship. Trying to get my scholarship and get to my next place in life.
No, not even that deep. It's just like I don't want to even wake up so on Saturday. Like I want to be good. I want to get through this game, get back to the school, and go out Friday night, man. I'm not. So yeah, I just think Jalen Ramsey said what a lot of players probably want to say but couldn't. But Jalen Ramsey, one of them guys, he go against the grain a lot. He's gonna say how he feels. He's unapologetic, and he wasn't wrong.
You think anybody from the BUCS? You think who from the BUCS, if you think, had the gall to actually pull that off and say it on behalf of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, which they have the right to feel that way? Is there anybody you can see who would actually step up and say it outside of Devin White?
I was just about to say Devin White. He top of the list because he said it about Jameis. he literally called it out when we beat the Saints, and he called him out like, hey man, we could have been doing this if we had, but the offense was the problem. I think besides Devin White, who else would do it? I don't think Levante Davis would do it. Levante ain't that type of guy. I don't think he'll start a fight like that. Devin White, man, a guy. Let me see.
I'm trying to think, man. Carlton Davis might say, I think who definitely would have said it, but he's gone. Jordan Whitehead. I think Jordan Whitehead.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Jordan Whitehead would have said something. Yeah, Jordan Whitehead would have definitely said something. Jordan Whitehead, he would have let it be known. And you have players like that because they understand how good they are as a unit. And they understand, hey, man, this unfair weight you putting on us, and if we lose a game, it's not even about y'all anymore. It's about us. Oh, no, I can't go for that.
Right,
so,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't be the reason why. Like, that clip you showed about where the defense is what is it? You know, just not playing all the way through the game or giving up points. You know, those players would say, well, hey, shouldn't have to be in this point. How many times the offense had the ball? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, yeah, Jordan Whitehead definitely, he would have said it too, yeah.
Because this defense, again, man, this defense has allowed 22 points or over 3 times this entire season. And the third time, it literally took overtime, 2 3-and-outs, and a damn near miracle catch by a tight end to get 23 points on the board. and again, it's crazy. And again, these guys, again, they have to, I keep saying again, these cats are being called to do what they have to do. They gotta stop people whenever they get on the field. They've got to make plays whenever plays are to be made. But goddamn, y'all, it's got to be a statute of limitations when it comes to holding the defense to a standard that the offense can't even get close to. This is almost, and it's backwards because it's almost, you start looking back at, last time we were able to say anything like this, at least I think to a point where a majority of fans agree, we have to go all the way back to the 1999-2000 Tony Dungy set of, bugs where the defense was killing and they were like, hey, just get scores, 17 points, what have you. Man, except for this time, it's the defensive-minded head coach who apparently people are going to blame for not holding the offense to a high standard.
Yeah.
So it's really weird, man. I really hate that I really hate that we have such a divided fan base, or such a large portion of the fan base who basically see the team as the offense, and they take the offense's hindrances and issues and basically place it on the team. You basically have to split the two units apart to say what's good and what's bad and what's working and what's not, and you can't just put it together. You can't just say the BUCS are a bad team, because the BUCS aren't a bad team. The BUCS, you can't have a top 7 defense and be a bad team.
Yeah, right.
Like, basically nobody wants to call out what's going on and what's wrong. A lot of it has to do with in the past, same now. A lot of it has to do with our quarterback and what the people want to see from him and what they expect of him and so forth, and kind of be a part of his story and all that. Whatever. I'm a BUCS fan. I don't give a damn. I care about the BUCS win and loss record and the players that's going to be on the team for the long run. But again, I love Tom Brady as a Buck. I love everybody else that's on the roster as a Buck. But still, we can't be so divided in our attention that we want to be so much complimentary of one player, and then kind of basically excuse his part, or not his part, like one unit, one player, whoever it is. You can't just excuse their part in losses and then just kind of make it about everybody. I mean, Nobody's perfect. No unit has played perfect. Everybody has gotten scored on. Everybody has missed opportunities. All this stuff is going on. That's part of football. But when you got one side of the ball that is doing so exceptionally well, no matter how you look at it, how you just split it up, when you actually look at what they're doing and they're doing it so exceptionally well, and then you have one that's lit on the opposite side, the complete polar opposite.
Yeah. And it's not even.
You can't just say, okay, well, it's the team. Like, nah, it's not the team. There's something specific that you're trying to ignore. There's something you don't want to address. Just let it go. Let it go. Again, week 12 is in the books. Looking forward to week 13, Monday Night Football against a division rival, New Orleans Saints. We hate them. They hate us. Week 12 versus Cleveland Browns did not go our way. Again, 23-17, loss in OT. Disappointing loss given the performance of the defense. And again, another recurrent act we have on our offense. Hopefully something, some way, somehow changes between now and Monday night at 8 o'clock in Tampa. Bigg Slim, man, I appreciate you coming back on and talking to me, man. It's been a long week. I'm gonna do this again, though, man. This is a long one. I never get tired of talking to you, man. I'm glad you put me on some thoughts I didn't have. Maybe see some things a little bit different way than I looked at them myself earlier. I appreciate you and the Swords and Cannons podcast, man. Let them know where they can find you, where you're gonna be next.
Yo, I appreciate that, Robert, man. Yo, it's on Swords and Cannons podcast. You can find me on Twitter. I tweet a lot on Twitter. I can't be real active on Twitter. You can tweet me at HC BUCS Pod on Twitter. You can find me at Swords and Cannons BUCS Podcast on Facebook. Like I say, man, you can find me on Twitter, man, involved in anything, all things that's going on, conversational wise about the BUCS, man. I ain't hard to find. Like I say, man, just is one of these guys that just really just trying to keep the conversation going about what's going on with the team and really league wise, and just bringing a different perspective to what's going on, and just kind of one by one trying to let guys know, let people know, man, that, it can be, things can be going a different way than what the narratives are, man. So I'm a kind of guy that like to play devil's advocate on a lot of things and challenge a lot of people on their positions on what's going on with the team. But all in all, man, it's all good. It's good debate. It's good conversation. And yeah, man, we every time we do this, Robert, man, we run long, but it's all good conversation, man. So I think if we do it more often, we won't go so long because we really be catching up with a lot of stuff. So it's all good to me, man. I love doing it, man. I don't have anything else to do. You call me on a good day, so it's all good conversation. I know you're gonna chop this up how you want to do it, but yeah, SC BUCS Pod at Twitter, man, on Twitter, and on Swords and Cannons BUCS Podcast on Facebook. Hit me up anytime. I'm always down to talk some Buccaneers football.
Hey, that's Bigg Slim. I am Robert Green, man. I thank you guys for listening, thanking about who's been checking in online here, watching the live stream. I appreciate you all for listening. Again, we're going to bring up the preview tomorrow. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home versus the division rival, most hated New Orleans Saints. We'll check you guys out on the next one. You guys be easy. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Peace.